You were able to observe a lot.
Yeah.
Secret Service. You were protecting the President of the United States. What do you make of this Benghazi thing? Is it the scandal we all think it is?
It's worse, Mark. It's a human tragedy. Haven't been overseas. I don't want to wax melodramatic here, but haven't been a Secret Service agent. I walked out of my house to my crying, at the time, 6 and 7-year-old daughter, Isabel, when she was on the, when I was on the detail. But, Mark, I would always say it's going to be okay, and I meant it. I really thought the cavalry would show up. I was in Afghanistan with the president, in Indonesia, under a myriad of threats at the time. I never in 1,000 years would have thought that if we had an A to Z security plan, that B would never show up. And the FEST team, that Foreign Emergency Support Team, that did not show up to save these guys over a 7-hour fight when this guy was brutally killed, our ambassador, and Sean Smith, and those 2 heroic SEALs. It's tough for me to even talk about because it brings back really bad memories, and I can't imagine if something broke bad on my end, and I just sat there screaming in the radio calling for help, and not one person answered. It's a national tragedy, and it's worse than I think people know.
What do you think happened? What would you surmise?
It was an insider attack planned for months. My take on it is the administration didn't want to admit that Libya was a failed mess. They couldn't. It was a foreign policy success right before the election. They knew there was a foreign policy debate coming up. He had just gotten destroyed on the first debate by Romney because he had nothing to stand on. So they could not. They had to find a scapegoat when this happened. They tried this ridiculous meme about the video, which was, basically laughed out now, but back then was accepted by, a collaborative media that just wanted to propagate this Aesop's fable. But I really believe that they just said have them stand down because they had just memories of Black Hawk Down and thought, well, if we get stuck over there, then, we're going to have to tell a story about how Libya failed. But they never, can you imagine listening to the cries for help?
No, I couldn't.
It's the horror. Now these tapes are apparently out there, and there was a drone that was overhead. There's video, too, but it was there about 90 minutes after the attack started.
You also make a point, these things like Fast and Furious and the Boston bombing and so forth, while we can never be perfect, while we can't stop everything, while we do some very bad things, you're saying, look, the bureaucracy is killing us.
Yeah. Mark, the administrative state is so out of control that I want people to understand that there are very real life or death consequences to this. You speak about it eloquently all the time, how the administrative state is almost more dangerous than elected officials. Hey, listen, every 2 years you get the chance to boot out your member of Congress if you don't like them. You have bureaucrats right now effectively legislating. You have them in the EPA bankrupting entire generations of coal miners, now trying to attack waterways. You're going to have a stream in your backyard. You're going to have a bureaucrat telling you can't dig a ditch in your own backyard now. There's nothing you can do. Mark, the audience, I think, they have to remember this. There's no power in government. There's no power in yes. There is only power in telling you no. If the EPA shows up and says, yes, you can do this, yes, you can do that, then you've effectively neutered them of their power. They relish this. This bureaucratic state loves their power. It grows. It's like the Green Lantern, having a little lantern next to them. They love to tell you no. And this administrative state is literally killing us. Look at what happened in Boston. How did we miss that? Well, I talk about it in the book, and very practically how we missed it. Because we have these siloed agencies all defending their own turf who never talk to each other. I wasn't surprised at all. It's really sad.
Lots of good books out there right now. My buddy Donald Gallerani, The Liberty Leaders, Family Dinner Table Textbook. It's a very nice holiday book. Dan Bongino's book is really solid, folks. Life Inside the Bubble. You'll learn all kinds of things, and he is an up-and-comer. He really is. He's one of the statesmen in the future. This I'm fairly certain of.
Mark Levin.